Come on, come on. No, this is big. I'm excited to be back, man. It's our first time to be back on campus in a year and a half. Super awesome. First time in the movie theater. Super dope. Some of you have never been here before. You have no idea who I am, and you're like, why should I be excited about this? Well, let me introduce you. My name is Blake. I'm the college pastor at a church in town called Mosaic. And man, I need you to know something about me before we go anywhere further tonight. I need you to realize that I'm what I like to call a hollerback preacher. And what I mean by that is that if I'm preaching good, I want you to talk to me. Because here's the deal. If I'm talking good, I'm going to keep going. Not forever. I don't have 3 hours. But if I'm in your business, say, oh, he in my business. Or like start clapping. You know, oh, that's good. Better preach it, white boy. You know, that's it right there. Whatever you want to do, clap your hands, stomp your feet. The reason we do that is because we believe a life with Jesus is fun. We believe that this life with Jesus is interactive. And we want to be a place where you can be yourself. That this could be home for you. I know some of you might have given up on church a long time ago. Let me redefine church for you. Church is where the people of God are. And we have the best news on the planet. Why would we not be excited about it? Why would we not physically and verbally show that we're excited to be in the space where God is? I'm pumped about being back. I'm excited. I haven't preached in 5 months. Might be a little rusty, but it's going to be great. I'm excited about it. You excited? Yeah, okay, come on. Come on. Come on. Man, tonight, we're, normally when we do this, we do like a series during the semester. Last semester, we did the series called Your Next 5 Years. Some of y'all remember Next 5 Years? Anybody? Just a couple people? Yeah, okay, great. Last semester, we talked about a couple of things. We talked about finances. We talked about relationships. Because we said next 5 years, you could be like parents, which is crazy. Or like boot up, married, all the things. Have a real job, bills. Trust me, bills might be coming closer than 5 years. Some of you got to pay them already. It's real. So that was then. But now, I felt like torn because normally we pick a series, we stay in that series, and we talk about one thing, right? I didn't want to get boxed in, to be honest. Because I believe, man, we're in a season in time where there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of things going on in your life. And I don't want to just pick something for the sake of picking it. I want to do something that gives you some tangible tools to practically put into your life that changes your Monday, that changes your everyday walk with God. Because if it doesn't touch your life, what good is it? And so tonight, I want to talk about something that I believe can hit all of us exactly where we are. I want to talk about something that Paul talks about in the book of Philippians. If you have a Bible, we're going to be in the book of Philippians. It's in the New Testament, chapter 4, starting chapter 4, Philippians chapter 4. If you're there, open up your Bible, open up your phone. I know some of you have phones, yeah? Philippians, starting in chapter 4, verse 10 through 13. I'll read it for us. I won't wait for you. I'll wait. You can wait later. Here we go. Let's do it. Text says, starting in chapter 4, verse 10, I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at length you have revived your concern for me. You were indeed concerned for me, but you had no opportunity. Not that I am speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. That's good, huh? I'm about to wreck y'all's favorite verse tonight. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. I mean, tonight I want to work out of the title, I'm Stuck. Touch your neighbor, say, I'm stuck. Oh, yeah, we touched our neighbor here. Hey, by the way, we didn't even get to do this. I need to bring this back. Some of y'all have no idea. You know, before we even get into it, it's in this moment. If you haven't met your neighbor yet, it's time to meet your neighbor. Right now, I need you to touch your neighbor and say, hey, neighbor, I've been waiting all week to sit next to you. Okay, so now, as you picked one neighbor, now there's another neighbor that you rejected, your second option. I need you to turn to your second option. I need you to touch your neighbor and say, hey, neighbor, I know it's the first week of fall, but you out here looking summertime fine. Summertime fine. If you saw somebody you liked, you interacted well, get their number, but later, okay? We're all about relationships here at Mosaic on campus, baby. You know what I mean? It's a good thing. I'm just playing. I need to chill out. We're not in a relationship series right now. Let me just pull it back a little bit. And we're working out the title, I'm stuck. You know, I talk about my nephew a lot. Some of you have no idea. I have a nephew. He's 2 years old. He turned 2 on September 11th. Just had a birthday for him. And on this birthday, this little boy had a time. And he is just at the age where he's starting to like really talk, you know, just saying things. And so my name is BB, Uncle BB. So he calls me. So he can say BB. And so he is in love with his Uncle BB. He literally will grab a book and say, "Book, BB," and I'll be like, "All right, let's read. Let's do it. Like, it's showtime. I wasn't doing something right now. Let me just do what you want to do since you run the world." You know what I'm saying? And so on his birthday, he grabbed my hand and said, "BB, go." And I was like, "Okay, let's go." Like, all right, I guess we're going. And we went over to his little swing set. There's a little swing set in our backyard. And he got into this swing set and he said, "BB, push, BB, push." And so I'm like, "Okay, bet." So I start pushing him. "BB, BB." And I stop. I got a phone call happen and I answer the phone. I'm looking down. And the next thing I know, I do not hear BB anymore. I hear crying. So I'm like, "Oh God, what did I do?" What happened? I didn't do anything, just so you get. The swing had stopped. And what had happened was there's a seatbelt in there, and I had fastened the seatbelt, but he didn't want to be in his seatbelt anymore. This little boy, he started trying to tug on it and pull on it, and I got over there. I was like, "What's wrong, buddy?" And his favorite thing he says now, he says it in the car with my sister, all this stuff. No, BB. No, BB. Like he's getting on to me. And I'm like, "What did I do?" No, BB. I say, "Don't be mad at me right now." And so I try to take it off, and it's stuck. It's actually stuck. And he is no longer having a good time. He is terrified. And I'm looking this little boy in the eyes, and I'm saying, "Hey, I'm going to get you out one way or another, but you might have to take a second." 2-year-olds, they can't do that. They don't understand. BB out. That's right now. Right now, out. And so finally I get this little boy out, and he no longer wants to swing and no longer wants to talk to BB, so he is going around his birthday. But that moment, it reminded me of something. Physically at times you can find yourself in situations where you're stuck, whether it's your seatbelt is stuck, you're wearing something that's too tight, you're trying to get out of it, you can't breathe, all the things. Like, you ever had that stuck feeling in life? When you get something stuck on your finger? Have you ever had a ring that wouldn't come off? Where you just literally feel it in your neck. Like, anxiety of like, "Oh my God, this is not coming off." And you pull a little bit, and then you're like, "Bro, this doesn't come off my finger. My finger's gonna get ripped off. It's gonna cut. I gotta cut it. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Do I go to the hospital? Do I call my dad? What do I do?" Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you freak out, and you have that stuck feeling where you're trying to move and get out of something, but everything you do doesn't seem to work, and you have no power to change the situation. You ever felt stuck like that?
Amen.
Physically, yeah. You ever been stuck like that mentally, in a stuck space, like in a mindset? Emotionally, yeah. Yeah. You ever been stuck in a relationship? Stuck on an ex? Don't let me get in your business too early. Sorry, my bad. Don't let me get to preach before I get to preaching. Okay, all right, my bad. Stuck in a habit. Stuck in a situation that you try so desperately to get out of, but everything you do, it just seems like you get deeper and deeper into it. You know what I'm talking about? Stuck. I want to talk about that tonight because I believe that Paul in this letter has a secret to tell us. He has the secret to how we can live an unstuck life, where we can find ourselves in some stuck situations but still live free. Paul in this letter to the Philippians, he's writing it in jail. I don't know if y'all realize that or not. He's writing this letter in jail. But what's even more interesting is that the beginning of this church started in jail also. Paul, one of my favorite stories, him and Silas, one of the guys that's with him, they're out there preaching one day and these guys don't really like what they're saying, and so what happens is they take them out into the middle of the courtyard of the city that they're in, and they beat them. Not only that, but they strip them of their clothes. They are so afraid that this crowd's going to kill them that they actually arrest them and put them in stocks and chains. And it says that night at the midnight hour in jail, Paul and Silas both begin to praise, that they begin to worship God. And it says that in that midnight hour that prison cell began to shake and that those doors burst wide open And there's this guy there, this Philippian jailer, who's watching him. And in that time, if you were a guard, a jailhouse keeper, I guess is what you call it, jailhouse keeper? Okay, jailer, that's the word I'm looking for. You're responsible for your people that are in jail. If they get out, it comes at the cost of your life. And so as these doors burst open, he gets his sword and is about to kill himself. But Paul, he says, hey, don't harm yourself. We're all still here. And that same night, that Philippian jailer brought Paul and Silas into his home, and he asked about Jesus. And it says that that Philippian jailer and his entire household were saved that night by believing in Jesus. And it all started by Paul being in prison. But you don't praise when you're stuck, right? He didn't let his circumstances keep him in a place of stuckness. He was free. He was free emotionally, spiritually, mentally, even though he was bound physically. I think for us, there's something that we can learn about the life of Paul. Not only is this a one-time thing, Paul is very frequent to persecution and hardship. Most of his life was after coming to know Jesus and changing his ways and following and preaching the gospel to the Gentiles. It says that he faced stoning, and I'm not talking about, y'all know what I'm talking about. Stones actually be thrown at him. That was a joke. Some of y'all got it. Some of y'all didn't. It's okay. Some of y'all been in church for a long time. You didn't get that joke at all. Thank you. But he got beat and then shipwrecked and then back in jail again. And he talks about in this book of Philippians how to live a free life. At the beginning of this thing in chapter 3, it says, and he's talking about him in his current situation in jail. He says, hey, to live is Christ and to die is gain. If I die, cool. If not, cool. He's good. He's good. How? I'm letting you know right now, if I'm locked up, I'm mad about it. If I'm late in traffic, I'm mad about it. You know what I'm saying? On North Street, and North Street is not traffic at all. Y'all in the way, I literally have a whole thing about turning into Java Jacks and the Kroger people going left. If you go to Kroger from the left, we got an issue. Anyway, some of y'all got it, some of y'all didn't. It's okay. But Paul in this letter, he talks about how to live an unstuck life. And I think there's a lot that we can learn. The problem, though, it says that he's learned the secret. It's a secret. It's not just a known thing. Yeah, we know the answer. The answer is contentment. He says, I've learned to be content in any and every circumstance. I've learned how to face little. I've also learned how to face much. I know what it's like to be hungry. I know what it's like to be well-fed. I know what it's like to be broke, and I know what it's like to be rich. I know what it's like to be in a hoopty, and I know what it's like to be in a Bentley. I know what it's like. And neither one of them have a pull on my contentment. I'm content either way. I'm full regardless, is what he's saying. Basically, you can do whatever you want to me. I can get put in any situation that you want to put me in, any hardship, and I'm good. God don't have to do anything else for me for the rest of my life other than save my soul, and we're good. I'm content. I'm full. That's where Paul is coming from. That's the secret. But it says this one key word. It says he learned that secret. It's not just one that's told. It's one that has to be practiced. This whole thing with Jesus isn't just about hearing. It's about doing. Y'all know that? Yes. Yeah. There's action required with what you hear. So I could tell you the secret right now, but the secret isn't a secret that's applicable unless you apply it. You can know it all day but not do anything. You still never experience it. Does that make sense? Yeah. I can tell you, I can give you the keys to anything. If you don't use it, it doesn't matter. Yeah? So Paul, he talks about this secret. And I think for us, the secret of contentment, it comes at a cost at times. Because there's actions required. There's practices part of it, right? And just like any practice, there's things that you should do and there's things that you shouldn't do. There's things that give life and there's things that take life. There's smart decisions, wisdom. And there's also like, hey, maybe not. That's probably not smart. And so for us, I think that we're people that we need to know what not to do so that we can know what to do. Does that make sense? Y'all that type of person? I need to know what not to do. Because I need some direction. I need a lane to run in. If I don't have a lane, I'm like, well, I guess I'm just not going to do anything. I know I should do that, but, if I tell you not to do something, it's a little bit easier. And so for us, I think if we start with that space, we can find a correct answer on how to put that secret in our lives that actually changes something here. The secret, the first thing we have to do if we're going to live a content, unstuck life is we have to stop comparing. We have to stop comparing. I know some of you, you feel this. Comparison's an easy thing to do. I know, and some of you are like, I never compare. I love my life, whatever. I get whatever, okay? The sick thing about comparison is you can compare and not even know you're comparing. There's things that you can do in your life that you're like, oh, I'm just, nothing. I'm just watching their life. It's cool. I love that for them. I'm not a hater, right? That's kind of how we think about it. Like, oh, if I'm comparing, I'm hating, right? I know some of y'all are agreeing with me. We go on Instagram and we're like, oh, dang, she got a boyfriend? She did. And what just happened in that, and what you just said, whether or not you know it, is how did she get that? I should have that. That's comparison. It's comparison. Man, I really wish I was in this situation and not this one. That would be nice. I wish that worked for me like it worked for them. Comparison. And what that's doing is robbing us of life. Y'all heard the saying, comparison is a thief of joy. You love your thing until you see that someone else got something nicer than you. It works with kids all the time. Give them $1, give another kid $5. You gave him $5. Like they feel like they've been wronged. They've been sinned against. Some of you got some good stuff going. Like you've got some really good things going in your life, but then you see something that you want that they don't even have what all you got. They just got something that you don't have, and you're just upset. Your whole life is just, you're like, you know what? I got straight A's. I got my school paid for, but I ain't got a girlfriend, so like this is stupid. I'm out. Tell me I'm lying. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, I'm in your business. I'm in your living room. Man, this thing about comparison, it's the seed that gets planted in us, and it says, hey, if only you had that, it would make you feel better. If only you had this, that would add on to your life. And the biggest lie that comparison will tell you is that contentment is found out there. Contentment's actually found in here. It's choosing, saying, what's in my hand is valuable. I don't need to look at what's in someone else's hand and say, oh, well, mine's not that great. That's comparison. It robs us of that contentment. It robs us of joy. Y'all have heard the saying, the grass isn't greener on the other side. Well, you know what? I think sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. Have y'all ever seen where the grass grows around like septic tanks? They're really green. Really green. You know, sometimes you'll go on Instagram and you'll see a photo and you're like, oh, they so cute. Look at them. The whole couple, like, y'all are goals, whatever. Little do you know, they had a fight right before that. That was real rough. They was going to break up, and they just smiling on the gram. Just, I'm happy. Some of that grass is greener. You just don't see what's underneath. You just don't see what's growing under there. You don't see what it is. Some of that stuff that you're wishing that you had in your life, wishing you looked like. I know some of y'all's teeth are not as bright as they look like they on Instagram. I promise you. Y'all think I'm 30 years old. I can tell a filter when I see a filter. Some of you girls in here, my girlfriend does it to me. She makes my teeth whiter. I'm like, that's not my teeth. Make my teeth busted and yellow. Stop playing with me. Quit lying to these babies and making me think I'm cute. I'm not. Toe up from the floor up sometimes. You know what I mean? I got a mullet right now. It's not cute. She tells me it's cute every day. I'm like, thank you, baby. I appreciate it. No, but we see these things and we think, man, this is so much better than what I have. But we don't realize it's just an artificial facade that we're looking at, and we look at that and we measure our life up against it, and we look at what's in our hand and we say, wow, I wish I had something else. And we just miss out on the life that God wants to give us with the things he's given us. You know, for some of us, the grass, when we look at it, it isn't just like it's at a septic tank. Maybe actually it is greener. There's actually good stuff going on in someone else's life. And the thing about the grass is greener on the other side thing and actually being greener is you don't know what it went into to make that grass green. You don't know what that grass looked like 4 years ago. You don't know the seasons that they had to walk through, the faithful seasons of doubt, heartache, depression, anxiety, but still walking in faith to lead them to where you can see it right now. Some of us are so caught up on the end goal that we can't even see that we're mid-process. That God is doing something in your life, that he is actually going to multiply the thing that's in your hand that you can't stand and want it to be like someone else's, but he's going to give you so much more than that. And I'm not talking about stuff. I'm talking about value, real value, purpose, calling. We can compare ourselves out of the calling that God has given us because we just don't value what we got. Some of you right now have the best stuff happening for you that you're ever going to have in your life, and you can't even enjoy it because one thing is not going good. One thing. You have a group of friends that love you and care about you and want to walk with you in life. Guess what? Turn 30. You ain't gonna have no friends for real anymore. I'm serious. You can talk on the phone once a month. Right now, you have an opportunity to interact with people that literally you can change people's lives just by the friends you make. Right now. Like God has something for you as you're sitting where you are. There's something for you where you are. But if you can't even enjoy where you're sitting, how are you ever going to be used by God? How are you ever going to? If you hate what you have, how can you ever be thankful for it? How are you ever going to use it? How are you ever going to multiply the thing? How are you ever going to have a gift? You know what I'm saying? You're just going to trade it away. We got to stop comparing. If we're ever going to walk in contentment, we got to stop comparing. The second is we got to stop complaining. Second is we got to stop complaining. You know, I got a 7-year-old in my life now. I know that I have a 2-year-old, but now I have a 7-year-old in my life. Her name is Charlie. Some of y'all know that. Charlie is, she's so much fun. We went to the football game the other day, and me and Demi, her mom, we were just sitting there and we're hanging out and having the best time ever, just so much fun. And out of nowhere, you just hear, I'm like, and I'm like, yeah, what? Yeah, exactly, what? And I look over, and this girl is flailing on the grass, like, I'm so hungry, I'm going to die. I can't do this anymore. In 7-year-olds, everything is urgent. It has to happen right now, or it's worthless. I'm hungry right now. It's like, dude, you didn't even tell us there was a warm-up. Like, I'm kind of hungry, kind of feeling like, you're kind of like, you know what, I'm getting kind of, angry, or I need a Snickers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can tell. Boyfriends know. Oh, you mad? Let's go eat. Come on. Let's go. Are you mad? And so it's the girls know. Y'all know what I'm talking about. But with 7-year-olds, there's no filter like that. It's just I'm immediately hungry, or I immediately have to go to the bathroom. I'm about to pee Dude, you couldn't tell me 20 minutes ago when we were by a bathroom that you were kind of feeling like you had to go. Anything. Just a heads up. Anything. Nothing. And this 7-year-old girl is just whining and like jumping on me, and like I'm like really trying. Like I love this little girl and I love her mom, and I'm just like, all right, you got to be like ready because you're about dad time. Let's do this. Okay. And I look at Charlie and said, hey, Charlie, you just had 12 pizza rolls 30 minutes ago. I know you're not hungry right now. I'm just so not even talking to me. Just complaining into the universe that she is hungry, that the pizza roll genie is going to show up and bring her a thing of pizza rolls. And I realized something about that situation, about that complaint that was happening. We do that same thing with God. We do that exact same thing with God. We find ourselves in a difficult circumstance. We find ourselves in a place that we're stuck. And we immediately don't talk to God. We complain either, oh, man, this sucks. Today's terrible. And guess what? You tell it to people that have zero power to do anything about it. You go tell your friends, dude, I can't believe she did that, blah, blah. Like, it made my day awful. Y'all do this, right? We call it venting. It's complaining. Let's be honest. We complain. And guess what? It's powerless. It does absolutely nothing for you. You ever notice that? You complain to somebody, they're like, actually what it does, it makes them not like you, to be honest. You complain enough, people are like, dang, bro, like you're really negative. I'm like not trying to hang out with you anymore. You're killing my vibe, dog.
I'm done with you.
Yeah. Yeah, you're killing my vibe. You know what I mean?
I'm
I
done.
love him. This is awesome. But we complain. And what happens? Nothing. When we complain to people who have no power to change the situation for us. In the text right before this, as Paul is in his PS of the letter, this whole chapter 4, this revolutionary thought that he's telling them how to live an unstuck life, how to be free, is in a PS. He's just kind of saying, oh, hey, I wrote the letter. By the way, greet these people. Oh, and then also do this. And what he says is, in chapter 4, verse 4, it says, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. You can't complain and rejoice at the same time. Do you realize that those are two different things? He says it twice. Rejoice. I say it again, rejoice. Command, right? Let your reasonableness be known to everyone. The Lord is at hand. Do not be anxious about anything. Don't complain about anything. But in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. You know, the thing I love about Charlie is that she knew that as she was complaining, we would do something about it, right? But there's a very big difference between me knowing that she is hungry and her asking me to do something about her being hungry. You understand the difference? So in that conversation that I had with Charlie, I said, hey, Charlie, if you ask me, I'll feed you. I don't want you to starve. That's not fun. I'm not doing that. But if you ask me, I'll move for you. You know, it matters how we ask God. Instead of just a complaint to the universe, we say, hey, God, the person that can do something about your situation, hey, God, I would like for something to change here. Let this request be made known to God by prayer and supplication. Know what supplication means? By begging. Begging is different than complaining. You ever complain to somebody and then they're just like, I'm not listening to you? But then if you ever ask them for their help, they have very different energy towards you, right? God, whose heart is towards us to help us, why would he not help us if we ask him? By prayer and supplication. God, you have the ability to help me. That's why prayer is a faith move. Complaining requires no faith, and it's powerless. Faith can move mountains, though. And what is prayer? It's faith. You're talking to nobody, physically, right? You ever prayed before? Yeah? You're like, okay, God. You're just like, God, and you're like looking around like, do I close my eyes? Do I like do like this? Do I like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like a thing. But you're taking a faith move that the God who created everything cares enough about me to hear what I want to say, the things I care about. He cares about my day-to-day. He cares about my little things. God, help me with my test. I'm really nervous that if I fail this test, I'm not going to be able to be a nurse and do the thing. And this is how you get worked out. God, I don't know if my whole future is going to be wiped out. I'm going to be homeless if I don't pass this test. Like we get there. Well, you know what I'm saying? We go down the line. And instead of us just complaining and going into a cycle of anxiety, we put it in God's hands and say, hey, God, the person who has power to do something about this, I trust you. I trust you with this thing that I'm worried about. I have a request that I need you to move for me, and you have the power to do something about it. See, God, he's not a genie, he's a father. And fathers know their kids' needs before they ask it. The thing is, there is a relational exchange when a child asks a father for their help. There is a relational exchange. Because what you're saying to the father is, hey, Dad, I can't do this, but you can. And the dad says, yeah, it's exactly what I want to do. I want to help you. I want you to get through this thing in your life. What you don't know is that I've been trying to move and have this relational moment with you forever. That's probably why you're in this stuck place. You should be trying to do it yourself this whole time. And then you complain about it. And then sometimes I just help just because I'm good, right? That's what parents do with kids. Bad kids, they still take care of their kids, right? For the most part, good parents. And if God's a good father, he takes care of their needs, even if they're not asking the right way. How much more so if you actually got on your knees and said, hey, God, I need your help. I want this thing to change. I request that you change the situation. Will you help me? And I love that the promise in this text is not that God will even give you a yes, but that he'll give you what you need. And not only that, he didn't just give you what you need when he tells you no. It says that he will give you peace, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. See, the promise is not that God's always going to give you a yes, because a good dad knows what's right for their kids. Sometimes the stuff you're asking for isn't even going to give you any life at all. It's going to lead you back to a stuck place, frankly. You ever prayed for a relationship to happen? You're like, God, please, just make this work. God, she's beautiful. He's got money. I'm just kidding. I don't know what you pray for. I don't know. But you pray so hard, you're on your knees, and you're like, God, move for me. I love this girl. And she's so rude to you and talks terribly about you, and none of your friends like her, but you're begging God, God, please. I would do anything. I'll serve you forever. And God's like, bro, you barely even talk to me, okay? But we beg him, and he's like, no. And we're like, dude, God, you suck. I'm just going to go figure it out myself. The thing is, we got the thing twisted. It says present your requests to God, not your demands to God. See, the thing that's so good about God is God sees ahead. He sees what you don't see. And that the thing that you ask for is going to lead you to a place that he doesn't want you. He's going to tell you no. And it's a good thing. A no from God is faithfulness of him. He's faithful to you by saying no. Faithful. I'm so thankful that God told me no a lot. Oh my God, so many times he told me no. God, please let me be a professional baseball player. No. God, okay, not baseball, football. No, absolutely not. Please let this be her. No. What about this career path? I got a few. No, you're gonna be a preacher, bro. You're gonna go back home to Nacogdoches. God, please anywhere but Nac. No. God, I'm never gonna find a wife in Nac. God, I'm 30 years old. Everybody's 10. I can't do this. In the faithfulness of God to say no. Like my life is proven, and whether you know that or not, I met, somebody. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's a no. You know what I mean? But for you, some of you are just asking God, yeah, please, 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 and you just need yeses. That's what you think. And you don't have the foresight to know that God's no is the best thing for you. The faithfulness of God towards you. And we get stuck because the no happens and we're like, well, they have it. How come I don't? They're ready. I'm clearly not ready. Is that what you're trying to tell? No, it's not what it at all. It's not it at all. We all have different journeys. We all have different walks. It's hard to look at someone else and think that that's for you. You have to realize what's for you. What God has for you is for you, and it's good. The thing is, it requires trust. I believe that you know what's best, and you know what time I need to eat, even if I did just eat 12 pizza rolls, and you care about me being well-fed because you don't want to hear. I'm just playing. Anyway. But no, God cares. He cares. And that's why our complaining does nothing for him, except leave us in a stuck space for even longer. It leads me to my next point. When we complain and as we live in that space where we just try to make it happen, try to manipulate our way into it, we're trying to exercise control. That demand is control. We're just trying to make it happen ourselves. There's a National Geographic that I watched once. It was about baboons. Weird. I watch weird stuff, I guess. And apparently, there's these guys who live in Africa, these tribesmen, right? And they, in times where there's drought, where there's no water, they know exactly where to go. Either they know how to, they showed me how this dude dug up a stump and chopped it up and squeezed it and it made water. I was like, no shot, bro. No way I'm figuring that out. This one I could do, though. This one I was like, I could do this. He told us that baboons in Africa, they always have a secret stash where they keep their water. And if there's a drought, these tribesmen will trick these baboons into showing them where water is. And so what they do is they go to these trees or to these abandoned ant mounds, and they drill a hole into the tree or into the mound, just big enough for them to fit their hand into. And what they'll do is they'll put salt, little things of salt on the inside. I'm not talking like grains of salt. I'm talking like sticks of salt. You know what I'm saying? Like a rock of salt, rock salt. You know what I'm saying? And so what will happen is the baboons will watch them drill a hole and put salt in there, and they'll just kind of hang back. I'll just wait a second. Like they don't know at all that they're waiting on. Anyway. It's just kind of interesting. They walk over after the tribesmen have gone or hidden themselves, and they'll go over to the hole, and they'll put their hand in the hole to grab the salt. And they can go in and out if they want to because their hand can fit. But the moment they close their hand, they can't pull it back out. So they'll grab onto that salt, and they will not be able to pull their hands out. And so what will happen in that moment is they're pulling and pulling and pulling, trying to get it out. That tribesman will come over and just put them in a cage and then hand them some salt, and they'll let it go. And they'll be encaged, right? Right? Stuck. Some of us in this room, we are stuck by our own doing. That we have put ourselves in a place where we want something so bad that we are not willing to let go of it, and it causes us to stay stuck. The relationship, the job, whatever you're stuck in. A lot of times this works out in toxic relationships because you can't let go of it. Because you're worried, I'm never going to love someone like I love this person. It's never going to happen for me They're the last lifeboat. Like, this is it. And if this is not it, I can't even go on living anymore. And what happens is the thing that we feel like we have a hold of actually has a hold onto us. And God in his love is asking us to be open-handed with the things that he gives us and the things that we sometimes latch onto. That we can get into spaces where we want control of our life so much that we will not let go of the thing that God is desperately trying to get our hands free of. I know some of you in this room, the reason why you're stuck is because you're worried that he's not going to provide the things that you need, and so that you need to do it yourself. It's probably because you had parents that didn't do a good job of providing for you, or you've been in a place of lack, and you had to trust yourself in your own strength and not trust God. And God, in his love for us, is begging us to trust him, to open our hands up and let go of the thing that we think is going to give us life. Because that control isn't giving you anything. It's an illusion. That if I have it, I'll be good. But the reality is, you don't even have the life that you're trying to hold on to. You're just stuck in it. And you're wondering why you're stuck. And he's like, let go of the thing. Just let it go. We're so afraid. We let fear keep us. The fear of not having keep us from a life full of what God wants to put in our hand. It takes faith. It takes faith to open your hand up. It takes faith to let go of control. It takes faith that there's a good Father who knows what you need. It takes faith. The last thing we need to do, if we're ever going to step into this life of contentment, the last thing we have to do is we have to not settle for complacency. If we're ever going to live a life full to the brim where it's like, man, I don't need anything else, we can't settle for complacency. So what happens, and what I mean by that is, complacency by definition is having a quiet satisfaction, unaware of the danger surrounding it. That we think that this life that I have, I'm stuck. And instead of saying, you know what, I'm going to try to get unstuck by walking in faith, doing the things we talked about, I'm just going to live here. This is just going to be my life. I'm an Enneagram 6. It's just the way my life's going to be. So just Enneagram 8, I'm just going to be a jerk. I get it. I'm an 8. Sorry. You might not be. Anyway, don't let me project that on you. This is just the way I am. This is how God made me. This is just my life. Yeah, I have this habit that I can't get rid of. Well, get ready. That's your life forever. That's what we believe. That's what we think. And so we settle. We sit into this life that robs from us. And we just let it because we get comfortable in our constraints. That stuck place becomes a comfort for us because, well, I've tried that already and it didn't work. Well, I've been trying and trying and trying. I'm tired. My little nephew, when he got tired of fighting, he just said, I quit. I'm just going to wait until BB can fix it. Might as well just get used to the swing. You know, I think the thing about Paul that I love so much, it says, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Here's the key. What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you. Practice these things. You know, I think a lot of us, we've chased most of our life trying to find contentment in so many different things. We've lived our life, spent our life looking forward in other people, the affirmation of people. We've looked at them for an accomplishment in being successful in what we do, good grades, good job on the football field. And where'd that leave you? Feeling like you're not enough, stuck. And God, I believe, so desperately wants to invite you into a life with him that is so full that you don't need anything like that to make it better. That you are so confident in who you are, what he's given you, and who he is for you that you can just live your life in a way that's powerful and it's meaningful. You know, this thing about complacency, it's giving up, it's not trying. I know for a lot of you, the Jesus that you've heard of, this life with him is kind of one of those things you hear about and you're like, oh, give your life to Jesus, and like, cool. Like, all right, I'm good. So the last thing that a life with Jesus is about. A life with Jesus is one that has to require faith every day. It isn't just like, oh, hey, come to Jesus, and then your life gets better. Oh, hey, come to Jesus, it's all going to work out. Hey, come to Jesus, he's going to give you money, success. No. Jesus is going to empty you out. It's going to cost you everything to walk with him. The thing about walking with Jesus is not, hey, come and walk with me if you want influence and fame and you want to be impactful in the world and live in purpose. No, we talk about that. Preachers talk about that because it sounds nice. Jesus' invitation is come and die. Come and lay everything that you want down and pick up everything I have for you up, and you will find life. Whoever wants to find his life must lose it. Who seeks his life must find it in me. The reason why we won't ever find contentment outside of him is because you're never designed to find it outside of him. You were designed for a relationship with God. You were designed for a relationship with God that moves you in life. This thing about faith, there's never an opportunity to show it until you need it. What I mean by that is you can't have faith until it looks like it's not going to happen. You can't have faith until you're like, I don't know how the bills are going to get paid, God. Don't know. I've worked as hard as I can. It's out of my hands. And you pray and you see God move. There's no way to trust him until you're in a point where you feel like you're being torn apart. This life with Jesus is one that you die empty in. And what I mean by that is that you've used everything he's given you up for a purpose greater than yourself. These lives that we live full with adding stuff to us is like drinking ocean water. It's just making you more thirsty. This life with Jesus, this well that he tells that in the New Testament that you drink from and you'll never go thirsty, is one that often looks like the dry life. But I promise you it's the most full one that you'll ever live. One that you feel like, man, I've used everything I had for you, God. Everything I had, every dream I wanted, I laid it down and said, God, I want what you have for me. I'm hungry right now, God. I've eaten 12 pizza rolls and I want 12 more, but I believe that you have more for me than just 12 pizza rolls. I really do. I really think that. God looks at us like he looks at kids and say, hey, I actually want better for you than this. It's not going to look like what you think it's going to look like. It's not a yes all the time. But it's a life full of relationship with me. And some of you in here, I believe that you've chased long enough looking for a life somewhere else, and God is begging you to just trust him. Just give him a shot. It's going to look different than you think. It's going to be better than you ever imagined. Not better as in easy, better as important, impactful, valuable. God wants to invite you into that life. You know, we're going to go back into some worship now, but before we do that, I want to lead you in a moment just for you to just say, hey, God, I need some things I need to lay down in front of you. I need some things that I need to stop. I need to stop comparing. I stop complaining. I got to stop trying to take control of things that you're trying to get my hands free of. I need to not settle for a complacent, just, all right, this is cool, life. But I need to spend my life in something valuable and meaningful and purposeful and eternal. And I want to do that. And so right now, would you close your eyes? In this moment, I just want you to feel like you're actually facing God like you're looking at your dad. And if you don't have a dad, you have an earthly father or a heavenly father who loves you and wants to answer these things for you, who wants to be there for you every day, cares about your needs, cares about your wants, cares about the things that you request of him. In this moment, I want you to imagine that God's asking you. No, what's he asking you to stop? What is he asking you to start? And what is he asking you to believe? God, I believe that you are calling us into something bigger than what we've settled for. Bigger than what we are trying to control and keep our hands wrapped around. Bigger than the things that we want so desperately that we complain about it. And better than what we think someone else has that we don't. God, I pray that you would give us faith to believe that contentment can be found in you. And that everything we need in this life is already in our hands. That we don't need anything else, God, other than you. We don't need someone else. We don't need a new situation. We just need a moment with you.